Okay, so good afternoon. So this is our agenda for the session today. Modeling statement concurrence in Xilinx ISE. Second is modeling 4:1 mux in Xilinx ISE using vector data type. Third is modifying 4:1 mux model to model 8:1 mux. And fourth is waveform generation using VHDL using wait statements. I am quite sure that this particular
Hello, sir.
Sir, mute हो गया. So you have muted yourself.
okay. Okay, fine. I'll repeat. Okay, so the agenda for today is modeling statement concurrency in Xilinx ISE, then modeling 4:1 multiplexer in Xilinx ISE using vector data type. Third is modifying the above model to model 8:1 mux. And last is waveform generation using VHDL using wait statements. So topic number four has been flashing in our agenda since last two sessions, but somehow we are not able to reach there, but I'm sure we'll make it today. So I will directly open the Xilinx ISE tool, and whatever statement concurrency we explained yesterday, that is here. This one, the statement concurrency. This we are going to type in ISE first today. So you just give me audio feedback if you see Xilinx ISE user interface in front of you. Okay, so by clicking this project navigator icon on my desktop, we are going to invoke the tool Xilinx ISE. Okay, is the user interface visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this week, that is 27th, that is Monday, we did take a session on Xilinx ISA design flow for FPGA prototyping. I know that there were many discontinuations there, but if you have caught whatever was seen, then we can do that, right? So the Xilinx ISE user interface is in front of us, and we are going to make a VHDL model using this tool, and the name of our entity is going to be Mux41. Okay, so what I will do is that I will first go to my Windows Explorer and show you that in my path how many folders are there. So C:\Xilinx HST is there and A underscore gate. So this A underscore gate model was made by us on Monday. Now I want to make here another folder named Mux41, and we will especially give it another name. Okay, so we will see that in the C:\Xilinx HST there is only one folder A underscore gate. So I go back to the tool. I'll go to File, New Project, and I will make sure that my path is C:\Xilinx HST. It is there. If it is not there, then I can always go to ellipsis, go to C:, go to Xilinx, and always I can select HST. Okay, here I will give the name Mux41, and because we are going to discuss concurrency, so we can say Mux41 underscore concurrency, a long name. So I will say Control A, that is select all, and Control C. So I can use this name, same string in the entity name in the future. Top level source type out of the 4, because we have to make a VHDL model, select HDL, click next. And then here our FPGA kit is not that which is fetched directly from Xilinx USA. So I'm going to select none specified here. Product category out of the 5 is general purpose. Family is Spartan 3E. Device is XC3S250E. Package is PQ208 amongst all of them. Okay. And speed grade out of the 2 is -5. Here HDL as top level source has been selected in the previous dialog box. Synthesis tool, no other options. Simulator, see, this is where a student can do a mistake. So I'm going to select ISIM. Okay, so in the simulator, don't select any of them. Select ISIM here. Preferred language out of the 2 is VHDL. Store all values, let it be like that. Nothing here. And out of the source analysis standards, select VHDL 93. Go down, no more configurations, click next. You get a summary here. So before clicking finish, I will see that in my project folder, what is there? Nothing has been created yet. So after I click finish, I'm expecting a folder named mux41_concurrency. So say finish. We see here it's made. And in this, there are only 3 entities here. We'll keep this folder open and we will see how it gets populated as and when our project progresses. Go here. Here, as I told you, in the design window, go and select the target line. That is the line which is showing you the IC number. Right click, new source. Here, select VHDL module. Go to file name here. Whatever I put here will become entity name. So I will say Control V. And make sure that add to project is selected. Reassure that VHDL module is again selected. Click next. Here we see entity name has already come as we desired. Architecture name, I will say entity name _ARCH. Okay. Now I go back to my OneNote and see how we are going to define vectors here. Okay. So go here and here. So I has to be defined 0 to 3, S is 1 down to 0. Okay, so first I will teach you from the tool how to define vectors, and we'll also erase that and we'll do the coding manually. So we see here that our inputs are I and S. So I is 4-bit, S is 2-bit, and Y is output, that is 1-bit. So here I will type I will say in, and I will click bus here. And see here carefully that MESB and LSB. So I will, by default it's 0. I will say 0 here. I will go to LSB and I'll say 3. Okay, because I want to go I in standard underscore logic underscore vector 0 to 3 I want to go. My second input is the select line bus S, which is also input, and here it is a bus, and I will, because I want it to go from 1 down to 0, so in the MSB I will type numerical 1. Now my third signal is output Y, which is 1-bit, and it is of the direction is out. I repeat, if by mistake, if I select in and go to the next, I can always edit it. Okay. So let us purposefully create a mistake here by defining Y as in. And because Y is 1-bit, I don't need to select the checkbox bus here. I will say next. I will say finish. Okay. So now I am having the coding window. You can close this design summary. And in order to have more space for coding, I will say float. Now I will delete all the comments. I will delete second set of comments also. And we see here that library statements have been put by the tool. And whatever entity name I gave, it has put it here. Entity name is. Now if you want, we can align it as what we learned in the class. I is in standard logic vector 0 down to 3. Okay, this is not allowed because as I told you, to the left of down to keyword, there has to be a larger number, and to the right it has to be a smaller number. So this rule is followed in the definition of S. So S is defined as input and standard logic vector 1 down to 0. So again, I will follow this, what I taught in the class. Okay, last signal and then, okay, fine. So now what I will do is that we have taught that this is not possible. So what we will do, we will write the code and then we will see what are the errors and how we can correct them. So purposefully, I know that I have done something wrong in the model, but still I will neglect it currently because I want to teach you that how you can read the errors, you can take hints from the errors and you can correct them. So now we go to the code, and as I told you here, now yesterday I told you that in the Perry book, here the author has defined select as the signal. So we will also type this there, but I told you that select is a predefined keyword in language. So as such, it is not allowed to use select as a signal name, but we will still do it in the tool. Okay, fine. So it's here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in the declaration part, I go and I will say signal C. You see here, whatever comes in any color which is other than black is predefined. So as such, the tool is also giving us an indication that you cannot use the word select, but still we will use it now. Okay, signals select space colon the data type integer. And here yesterday one student asked that, sir, is it compulsory to give integer range 0 to 3? So we will not give it here and we will see whether we are getting errors or not. So signal space signal name space colon space data type semicolon. So our declaration part is over, and here I go and I will start doing the coding. Okay, so I will say select is assigned 0 when select line equal to double quote 00, else what I will do, I will copy this statement as it is and I will just make the modifications. Okay, so I will make it 1 0 1 1 0 2, I will say 3. Okay, and as I told you in the last combination, you're not supposed to put anything. You can just put semicolon here. Okay, so now we have defined the dependency of the signal select on the select lines. Now we will define the dependency of the output y on the signal select. Y is assigned. Now because I is a vector, I will say I the first bit when select equal to 0, else. I'll copy this statement and paste it 3 times. Here I go 1 okay, as before, there is no need to write this, just put a semicolon here and we are through. So our architecture body is over, right? So now what we will do, I feel that our VHDL model is complete. So we will ask the tool whether everything is right. So I will do is I will go and dock the window and I will go here and I will just click save all and then I will ask the tool. So now even before I have clicked this option synthesize, it is indicating some errors. Okay, so it is telling us that line number 25 syntax error near select. Okay, so I will click this pink link and I get a pointer. I click the second link, I get another pointer. Okay, there are 2 pointers here. It is telling syntax error near. So as such, according to the grammar of the language, I have not done anything wrong. Okay, still what I will do, I will synthesize it and I will see if I get some more errors. See here, okay. See, these errors were not seen when I simply saved the VHDL model. That is why don't be happy without synthesizing. Even when I saved the VHDL model, it gave me indication of 2 errors. Now let us go and see that what are the additional errors which are seen here. So it is telling warning. So it is giving me a warning. Line null range 0 down to 3. So it is now raising an objection that it is not allowed to write 0 down to 3. And then here and here, right? So we are having 3 errors here. So as I told you, this is not allowed. So I'm supposed to change this 0 down to 3 to 2. Okay. So I have done some changes. I will again save it and I will again resynthesize it and I will see if that particular error of range has been removed. Okay. Yeah. So what it is telling again that line number 30 and 31 again there is a problem. Okay. Unexpected select. So it is not telling you directly that you cannot use the select as a signal name because it is predefined keyword. That is why I know the rules. So what I will do, I will change the name of the signal to cell, and wherever I have written select, I will change it to cell. Okay, and I will click save all and I will say resynthesize. Again it is giving some error. Yeah, it is telling object y of mode in cannot be updated. As I told you before that here, please understand one thing, that whatever signal you write to the left of assignment operator, so this is the assignment operator. So whatever signal you write to the left of assignment operator has to be an output signal, and whichever signal is to the right of assignment operator has to be input. So to the right of the assignment operator, we are having an input signal because I is defined as input, but y is defined as input. So it is wrong. So I have to change it to OUT. Okay, indicating that if at all in the initial dialog boxes you have defined the directions or modes of some signals incorrectly, you can always make the changes here. Okay, now again I will select the VHDL file and I will say right click, I will say run. And I feel we should not get any error now. Very good. So now the question still remains that if we followed Perry did not use the keywords which I taught you yesterday, that is integer range 0 to 3. Now we'll write that thing and we will see if we are getting any error. So signal space cell colon integer, I will say range 0 to 3. Let us see if this is acceptable. I think so it should be acceptable, but let the tool answer this question. Select the VHDL file, right click, run. Very good. So we have got a white tick mark against the fluorescent background. That means our VHDL model is correct. Let us go and analyze that what is the RTL schematic generated in response to the logic which we wrote in the architecture body. So I go here and I will just say double click RTL schematic, and here we have the entity name written outside the fluorescent green box. We see here the input I is 0:3. That means it is a vector. We see now it is 0 to 3. And the select line is a 2-bit bus and it is 1 down to 0. Output is well. Let us go and see what are the details inside. Double click this. I have something which is very interesting and it reminds us all of secondary engineering. I will say zoom to full view and this is it. Okay, so we have an OR gate here and we have here something here. Getting me? So this clearly indicates that it is important for us that when we go to BE, we do not forget the concepts which we learnt in second year. We clearly see here, if I zoom this, I know that multiplexer is nothing but and or not logic inside. We told that the Boolean expression for a 2:1 multiplexer is y is equal to s bar ANDed with I naught ORed with s ANDed with I1. So it is nothing but and or not logic. And if I zoom it, I clearly know that see here, it is and or logic. Okay, it's an and or logic. And we have another multi-input OR gate here. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Yeah, so this was the RTL schematic. I close this. I go to technology schematic and find out that which are the logical resources within my selected FPGA, that is this, which are going to be used. So I double click technology schematic. Again, the same box. When I go inside, I get some details. When I say zoom to full view, I am seeing something which we saw last time. So here, if we see, there are input buffers here because every signal enters into the FPGA chip through input buffer. And at the same time, all the outputs go outside the chip through output buffer. Okay, here we are able to see here multiplex's output goes to output buffer and that comes outside the chip. Okay, let us zoom in a little bit and we see what is here. So it is a 3 input lookup table, LUT3. Let us go inside and see what is there inside. Schematic diagram, it is nothing but and or not logic. Okay, so LUTs or lookup tables are programmable resources which are equipped or they are potent enough to implement basic and or not logic. Equation is this, truth table is this, and the K-map is this. Okay, this is it. So this is how we have synthesized and seen how concurrency works, and intentionally 3 or 4 mistakes I did. The first mistake which we did was we defined the signal Y as out input. It was in, okay, sorry, we defined the signal Y as input instead of output. Second thing is that we purposefully defined the signal as SELECT, a predefined keyword, and it gave errors. That's it. So we are through. So our first topic for the day is covered. It was this. Okay. Now what we'll do is that we will model 4:1 mux in Xilinx ISE using vector data type. So here I'm going to create a new project, but now we are not going to accept the library statements and entity declaration, from the tool side. Okay. So we'll go here, and now what I will do is that I will go to file. I will say new project, and the path remains the same, and I will just say mux 41 manual. That means I'm going to manually type the entire VHDL model right from library statements to architecture body. So my entity name will be mux 41 underscore manual. Path remains the same. Top level source is HDL. Say next. All the hardware has been configured properly. All the simulators, languages, everything. Just say next and say finish. Okay. So now please see carefully that how you can do everything manually by not accepting the skeletons which are made for you from the tool side. So as usual, I will go to the design window, go to the target line, right click and say new source. New source, I'll select VHDL module, and then what I will do is I will not okay, I will just say like this. Okay, fine. So I did not copy it in the clipboard, so I will say mux underscore 41 underscore manual. Okay, fine. So select this, Control C, ensure add to project is checked, VHDL model is reselected, say next. And here, although it is asking me give the architecture name and all the signals, I will not do anything here. I will just say next and say I'll finish. Okay, so now skeleton has come. I will close the design summary and I will right click and say float. Okay, so now you see here what is being given. Comments are there, library statements are there, and then here architecture body skeleton is there, and there is nothing in the entity. So entity space entity name is end entity because I have not defined any signals here, it is not giving. So what I will do is that I will say control A, I will say delete. I don't want anything from the tool, and now I'll start typing the entire program. Okay, so library please see carefully how fast you can actually type the program. Whenever you manually type the library statements, please make sure that nothing comes in black color. Everything should come in either blue or pink color, indicating that you are not typed anything in the wrong way. Library statements are over. Now I'll type the entity space mux 41 underscore manual is port. Okay, now see signal I space colon space in standard underscore logic underscore vector 0 to 3 semicolon s space colon space in. In fact, you can copy and paste all to this here, but be a little careful. What I will do is I will just say 1 down to 0. Okay, and last signal is y space colon out standard underscore logic, no semicolon, architecture. I can copy this now. Architecture. So now in the architecture body of multiplexer 41, you can use when else statement. You can use even process also. Okay. So just to have a practice of behavioral modeling style, what I will do is that I will use process clause. So process sensitivity list. So the list of all input signals, that is I comma S, and then I have the process begin, and here I can use sequential statements. Okay, so I will say if S equal to double quotes 0 0, then Y is assigned the first input, that is I bracket 0 semicolon. Okay, what I will do is that I will copy paste this and I will reuse it. Okay, but I have to change this. Okay, if S equal to double quotes 00, then Y is assigned I0. Now because S is having more than two conditions, I will say else if S equal to 0 1, then Y is assigned I1. Again I will say else if S equal to 1 0, then Y is assigned I2, and here you are simply supposed to write down else, remove everything, else Y is assigned I3. Okay, this is how it goes. Maybe you can put one delete here. Okay, so if S equal to 0 0, Y gets I0, else if S equal to 0 1, then Y gets I1, else if S equal to 1 0, then I gets I2, else Y gets I3. So now there is only one if here, so we have to end this particular clause by writing end if, end space if. Okay, and then I have to close the process by writing end process. I have to end the architecture also, so I will say end, and I can just copy the architecture name from here, Control C, and I can say Control V semicolon. Okay, so I think that according to what we taught about process clause and if then else, our VHDL model is complete. Let us ask the tool if we have done the coding correctly. So I will say doc, I go here and it's already saved. I will just select my VHDL file, go here and just say synthesize. Very good. So it's done. Let us see what is the RTL schematic. Again, same as before, everything remains the same inside. Okay. No, everything is not the same inside. Okay. You see here, if you remember when we wrote the VHDL model for 4:1 multiplexer to explain statement concurrency, in the RTL schematic, I saw and or not logic. But when I'm using here the if then else clause, it is directly inferring a multiplexer inside. Let us go and see technology schematic. Yes, so technology schematic is same, but RTL schematic is not the same. Okay, if you want, let us go back and we will say start, and I'm having concurrency as the project opened here. Now I will again go and show you what it is. Okay, see the RTL schematic here. Okay, so it needs to resynthesize the model, then only it will generate RTL schematic. See here, there is a difference. Okay, this is the RTL schematic when we have written the code using Venels, that is data flow modeling style gives us this kind of an RTL schematic, and the technology schematic is remaining the same. Okay, but when I do using behavioral modeling style using process clause, that is if then else, so I'm getting a different kind of a RTL schematic. Okay. Different. So in the subsequent lectures, I will tell you what is the significance of using different VHDL constructs and how it affects the RTL schematic. So now our two topics for the day are over. Now we'll modify our VHDL model. So it represents 8:1. Okay, modifying 4:1 mux to model 8:1 mux. We'll again go here. Okay. So now I want to know from student side, what are the changes I should make in this VHDL model so that it now represents an 8:1 mux. Okay, anybody who feels he can answer, except Yash, others are expected to answer. Okay, yes, from student side, anybody other than Yash, please answer that I want to modify this VHDL model so that it represents now 8:1 mux.
Sir, you have the
Any one student can reply, please. Yes.
Sir,
Yes, tell.
so I equal to the it will be bus from 0 to 7.
Yeah. Yeah, so let us start from changing the entity name. Can you give me a relevant entity name for 8:1 mux?
Mux so 8:1
Yeah,
mux.
mux 81. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Is it okay? Yeah, next change. Yes, next change.
So that I equal to in standard logic vector 0 to 7.
Wonderful. 0 to 7. Something else?
Sir, S.
Yes, how many select lines will our system have now?
So 3.
Very good.
0 to means
8:1 mux 3. So what I should do here?
so 3 to 0, I guess. No, 2 to 0.
Yeah, if you do 3 down to 0, it becomes 4 select lines, then that will become 16:1 mux. So I will say 2 down to 0. Very good. Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
number of inputs have been increased from 4 to 8. Select lines have been increased from 2 to 3. Any other changes?
So in architecture.
No, you forgot one
So
thing.
means the
You have to change entity name here also, na?
yes.
Yes.
And entity name.
When you change the name here, you have to change the name here also. Now, suggest name changes now.
So same as entity
Yeah,
plus
very good.
underscore arc.
Yes, very good. Yeah, so there cannot be mismatch, right? So architecture name has been changed, entity name has been changed as per before. Now tell me, what all should I do here?
So it will be same. You have to include some extra steps in that. Means the process will be same like that.
Yeah,
Already
that is
written.
there. Okay, fine. So you want to say that, sir, we have given 4 options here. So how many options I should give here now?
Seven option and last one will be else wala.
Very good. But the problem is this. Now my select line is 3-bit and here it is 2-bit. So S equal to?
3 zeros.
Yeah,
3
very
0.
good. Very good. So I will put a 0 here. Okay. So now
Yes.
0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0, and now I have to add some statements. Okay. So what I will do, I will just select this and I will just say Okay, let me 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0. Last is 1 1 1. You need not write that. Okay. So 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, and no, we have gone wrong somewhere. 0
So we have
0 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah. So one more else has to be there, right? Else.
else y is assigned to I7.
Yeah. So now we will change the inputs also to, now it will be I3, I4, I5, I6, and here I have to put I7.
Y is assigned to I7.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Seems
Thank you.
fine. Yeah. Let us see if we have done mistakes or not. So I will just say save all here. I will right click and I will say doc. Let us see what the tool has to say. Yeah. Yeah, there is an error here. So it is telling end identifier mux 41 March. Okay. Yes. So हमने सब लोगों का नामकरण नहीं किया. Okay. So we have changed the architecture name here. We have not changed the architecture name at the end of the architecture. Okay. So I will just say Control V. I will say save all and I will say right click synthesize. Run. We should get it right this time. Very good. So let us see RTL schematic here. It's inside. So although the name is Mux 41, but we are seeing here something. Okay. Multiplexer is there. Yeah, but it has done some doubling inside. Okay, that we can study afterwards. Go to technology schematic. Let us see what it is inside. Yes. Okay. See now the number of LUTs have increased now. Let us zoom and see how many LUTs are here. Okay. So. Okay. So 4 3 input LUTs have been. So we can read the design summary like this. We can close this and we can just click this button here and we have the design summary and it is telling here. So out of 2448 slices, only 2 are used. Number of 4 input LUTs used are 4 out of 4896. Number of bonded IOBs is 12. So as I told you, the number of bonded IOBs is equal to the summation of inputs and outputs. So we see that totally how many inputs we are having in 8:1 mux. We have 8 inputs. We have 3 select lines. So 8 plus 3, 11 and 1 output. So 12. Okay. So it's like this. So if we again go back and go to 4:1 multiplexer here. Okay, anyways, we do not have 4:1 multiplexer because we have modified the 4:1 mux model to make it 8:1. Okay. I hope that you are becoming more confident and less fearful of using the ISE tool. It is very easy provided you practice it properly. Okay. So hence our third topic is also over for the day and we are going to enter into the fourth topic. Okay, this is also over and now we are having exactly 20 minutes. So we'll start with the fourth topic, waveform generation using VHDL using wait statements. Okay, so now we go to OneNote here. Is everybody able to see the OneNote screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah. If you remember, when we gave the introduction of VHDL language in maybe the second theory lecture, history of VHDL, we told that VHDL is a combination of 5 different languages, namely concurrent language, sequential language, netlist language, timing specifications and waveform generation language. So there are certain keywords provided in the VHDL language which can help us generate waveforms. Now please understand one thing, when I say generate waveforms, it does not mean, okay, it does not mean that we are thinking about generating sine waves, triangular waves and square waves from outside an FPGA. That is possible, but for that you have to use analog to digital converter. Not the point. So what we can do is that we can have a lookup table in our VHDL model wherein we store values. These digital values can be passed on to the DAC chip which is there on our kit, and then it can be already it is connected. So DAC and ADC, both of them are connected to our FPGA on the kit, but we have to see the pin assignments and we also have to give the start of pulse conversion, etc. So that is a lengthy thing, complex thing. We need not discuss it now. But there are ready-made keywords available in waveform in the language which can help us generate waveform. So basically the waveform generation aspect of VHDL is especially used when we write test benches for simulation. So in coming Monday's practical lecture, I am going to teach you how to write test benches. Fine, let us go ahead now. Now what I will do is that I will tell which are the keywords which used for waveform generation. So this is the keyword. Okay, there are two keywords. The first keyword which is used is wait, and second keyword which is used is after. Okay, these are the only two keywords which you should know how they act, how they behave. You can come to know. Okay, fine. So now we go ahead. I will draw the waveform and I will tell how to generate it. For example, if I want to write a VHDL code for generating this waveform, okay. So this is my timeline and it is in nanoseconds, and let my signal be X. Okay, so X is my signal, which is a function of time. So X of t is my signal and it is riding on a nanosecond axis. Now see what I want to do is this. Okay, see now. Okay, so I will draw the waveform with a different color. Okay, blue color, say. Okay. Okay, so my signal looks something like this and I want to write a VHDL code for generating this signal. Now I will also put time markers here. Naturally this is 0. Say this is 10. This is 25. This is 75. Okay, and then you know that this is infinity. Okay, this goes to infinity. Okay, see now how do I write a program for this? Please understand one thing, that you don't need to define the voltage level of X of t. Okay, it is in logical terms, it is 0 and 1. Okay, so X of t can have only two values, is either equal to logic 1 or it is logic 0. Okay, so these are logic values. Fine. Okay. So keeping this waveform in your mind. So now what I will do, I will first read the waveform in this way. And if I read the waveform in this way, it is very easy for me to use wait and after keywords and generate the waveforms. Okay, so see, very, very carefully listen how I'm reading the signal X of t. See now, X of t gets a value 1 at t equal to 0 nanoseconds. It continues at 1 till 10 nanoseconds. At 10 nanoseconds, it becomes 0. It continues at 0 till 25 nanoseconds. At 25 nanoseconds, it becomes 1 and it continues to remain 1 till 75 nanoseconds. At 75 nanoseconds, it becomes 0 and continues to remain 0 forever. Okay, so briefly, from 0 to 10 nanoseconds, X of t equal to 1. For the next 15 nanoseconds, it is 0. Okay, I repeat it. Okay, so X of t is 1 from 0 to 10 nanoseconds, then it becomes 0, and for the next 15 nanoseconds it remains 0. At 25 nanoseconds it becomes 1, and it remains 1 for the next 50 nanoseconds. At 75 nanoseconds it becomes 0 and continues to become 0. It continues at 0. See now how I'm writing it. Okay, so in VHDL you cannot write down x of t. Okay, you have to write only x. Okay, see now. So I'm writing it. See. X, oh no. I will say x is assigned. Now x is 1-bit signal, so the values have to be enclosed in single quotes. Okay, so what is happening is when I say x is assigned 1, okay, semicolon. Okay, so when I say x is assigned 1, what happens is this. On the timeline, the signal now rises here. Okay, यहाँ पे पहुंच जाता है. Okay, so when I say x is assigned 1, this is what happens. Okay, so after every statement we will draw progressive waveform. Okay, so when I write down x is assigned single tick 1, that means the waveform has gone from 0 to 1. Now it is asking that it should remain 1 for how much time. So I will say now I want the signal to remain 1 for 10 nanoseconds. I will say wait for 10 nanoseconds semicolon. Okay, so what will happen here after execution of this, the waveform will go like this. Okay, यहाँ तक पहुंचेगा 0 to 10. Okay, it has reached here now. Now what I'm supposed to do, at 10 nanoseconds x is becoming 0. So I will write down the statement x is assigned single tick 0. Okay, so what will happen after this execution, I have reached here. Okay, like this, and it has reached here. Okay, so we have reached the waveform here. इतना तक waveform बन गया अभी. Okay, अभी धीरे धीरे आगे जाते हैं. Okay, now we see from 10 to 25 it is remaining 0. That means what? In the timeline we have reached 10 nanoseconds here. Okay, so now we have reached this point now. Now we have to progress by 15 nanoseconds. So I will now write down remain at 0 for wait for 15 nanoseconds. Okay, so now the waveform has reached like this. It went like this. 10 nanoseconds like this. It has reached here now. Okay, 0, 10 and 25. Okay, so now 25 it again becomes 1. So I will write down. Now we have reached 25 nanoseconds here. Okay, we have reached 10 nanoseconds here. Okay, we are still at 0 here. Okay, 0 here. Now at 25 nanoseconds it has to be made 1. So x is assigned 1, and it is supposed to remain 1 for the next 50 nanoseconds. That is from 25 nanoseconds to 75 nanoseconds. So I will just tell down. So when I say like this, the waveform has reached here. Okay, like this, it has reached here. Okay, 0, 10, 25. Reached here now. Okay, यहाँ तक पहुंच गया. So now I will say now you have to remain at logic 1 from 25 to 75 for the next 50 nanoseconds. Okay, after execution of this particular statement, my waveform has reached here. Okay, like this, came down at 10, remain at 0 till 25, went here, and it has reached here now. Okay, so 50 nanoseconds, it has reached here now. So we have reached this point. We have reached this point. Now at 75 I have to bring it down again. So I will say x gets logic 0. Okay, when I do this, now my waveform becomes like this, goes up and comes down here. Okay, so 0, 10, 25 and 75. Okay, so now it has already reached 75. So we are at this position, and now we want x of t to continue at 0 for time t equal to infinity. So now what I will say, I will just say wait. Okay. So when I do not say wait for something, it means it will wait for infinity. What the point? That's it. Okay. And please understand one thing, that this particular piece of code, okay, this particular piece of code has to be written within the process clause in the test bench. So I have to write process clause here, and I will say, okay, process begin, and here I will say end process. Okay. So this was very complex example. If you actually understood how we have done this, it should be very, very easy for you. Okay. So we have another 7 minutes. So I'll just quickly, revise what we did. So for waveform generation, we have to use two keywords, wait and after, and we have taken one sample waveform. And if we read verbally this particular waveform, we know that the name of the signal is x of t, and it is riding over a time axis which is in nanoseconds. So if we read it verbally, it reads like this: x remains 1 from 0 to 10 nanoseconds. At 10 it becomes 0. For the next 15 nanoseconds it remains 0. At 25 nanoseconds it becomes 1, and it remains 1 for the next 50 nanoseconds. At 75 nanoseconds x becomes 0, and then it continues at 0 till infinity, right? So the first transition at t equal to 0 nanoseconds, 0 to 1 is achieved as x is assigned 1. And when we say wait for 10 nanoseconds, the signal is now traveling from 0 to 10 nanoseconds at the level 1. At 10 it has to become 0. So I say that x is assigned 0, and it has to remain 0 for the next 15 nanoseconds. So I say wait for 15 nanoseconds. So we have reached here. At 25 nanoseconds, x is again becoming 1. So I will say x is assigned 1, and it has to remain 1 for the next 50 nanoseconds. So I will say x is assigned 1, wait for 50 nanoseconds. And then at 75 nanoseconds, x has to become 0 again. So I have to pull it down. So when I reach 75 nanoseconds, that is here, I will say x is assigned 0. And at 75 nanoseconds, when x of t becomes 0, it has to continue at 0 till infinity. So at last, I just say x is assigned 0 and say wait. Okay. Anybody has any doubts in this particular logic, they can ask. Okay, if you have understood, then I will draw one more waveform, and I will ask one of the students who is confident he has understood to tell me. Okay, fine. ठीक है. Okay. 10 nanoseconds. Let my signal be p of t. Okay, please carefully see. Fast. We have only 2 to 3 minutes. There is a next lecture. Yes. Anybody? I'll not type it. Just verbally say. We want to generate this waveform using wait and after. Yes.
So,
Yeah. Please go ahead. Fast.
sir, so for x is assigned 0.
No, P.
P, right. So P,
Yeah.
P is assigned 0.
Okay.
Wait for 5 seconds.
5 nanoseconds.
Right.
Correct. Next.
Then when P is assigned 1,
Yes.
wait for 23 seconds.
22.
22, I guess, right.
Very
22
good.
seconds.
Yeah.
Then P is assigned 0.
Very good.
Wait for 13 seconds.
Very good.
Then P is assigned 1. Wait for 60 seconds.
60 nanoseconds.
16 nanoseconds.
Okay.
Then P is assigned 0. Wait for 20 seconds. 20 nanoseconds. And then
Okay.
P is assigned 1. And that's it.
Wait. We have to put wait.
Wait, right. Wait.
Yeah. So last statement will be P is assigned 1, and you have to say wait. Then after becoming 1 at 120 nanoseconds, it will continue at 1 for infinity. Okay. Perfectly. That means your answer is perfectly correct. That means you have understood the previous example properly. Okay. Next session, what we will do is that we will actually write this piece of code in test bench in Xilinx, and I will show you how this waveform is generated. Okay. Next time. Yeah.